We are doing such a disservice. Why shouldn't we be teaching teenagers about menopause? We should be teaching them about their own bodies, which we hardly even talk about in the first place. We should be talking to them about, you're going through this. Well, guess what? Your mom's probably going through a similar thing. If you're suddenly not getting along with mom, there might be a very valid reason, because mom's probably also going through hormonal changes.
Which is how I describe it. It's puberty in reverse.
Right. And the thing is and yet we should have more of a understanding, right? And yet we don't always realize what's just hit us. But I do think it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about at all levels. I think boys and men should be learning about menopause and what women go through, because you have to live with this. Don't you want to know? If it seems like I'm going crazy, why am I going crazy? I'm not going crazy. You're not going crazy. We're just being basically hijacked by all these hormones. And there's a way to navigate that, or there can be ways to navigate that don't result in divorce or having maybe children that don't want to deal with their parents anymore because they don't understand what's going on, or all sorts of different.
A lot of nurses post-COVID who have got horrific PTSD, so I work with them. I work with lots of people, and a lot of it is trauma-based as well. So you can pinpoint where trauma's come from and how it's affected you, and sometimes your body is telling you, but you don't realise, with aches and pains, and that's where your trauma is stored. Oh, it's amazing. There's so much to it. I could just waffle on for hours.
Do you think sort of menopause exacerbates any sort of trauma that a woman has had in the where they might have just parked it? I would say parked it. They think that they've sort of dealt with it, where they've just sort of said, okay, no, I've moved on, and then it sort of rears its ugly head and sort of comes back with a vengeance. Do you find that kind of can happen when hormones are all out of whack?
Feels a bit like this. That's kind of that's the best way to describe it. Sometimes it can. No, it depends on the person, but I reckon if you've got any kind of trauma-based stuff that's happened to you and you kind of push it down, like as healthcare workers, we all know when you see something horrific, you push it down because you've got to carry on with your shift. You just got to carry, you can't stop. So you shove it down, shove it down, shove it down, and at some point that will come back to you.
I remember when I was perimenopausal and working in, very high stress job. I had a lot of stress in my family going on, and you just think that you're going crazy. And there's nobody really pointing out, that you might be going through that might be what's going on. And you just think it's life stressors. You just think there's all these things going on and you don't know why. And it was me that kept saying to everybody, it's the hormones. It's the only explanation I have, is that hormones are making me feel this way. And even then, nobody was putting two and two together and saying, go see somebody about it.
So you sort of knew within yourself.
Yes, and I'm working in a hospital, and I'm working with other medical professionals. And still, it was just like, shrug shoulders, good luck with that. So, yeah, it makes you feel alone. And that's, as a medical professional, being somebody who knows something's going on, but there's just not enough information. And that's in a digital age where you should have all that information. So a lot of what I found out was because I did research on my own. I don't know if Emma was the same.
Sort of your one key bit of advice, both of you, to anyone that's kind of listening that isn't quite perimenopause yet, but is sort of obviously now starting to hear about it. Any advice for them sort of coming into perimenopause that it can sort of help them in this transition?
Get books, educate yourself. Educate yourself as much as you possibly can. Get audiobooks. Your book is amazing. I'm not just promoting you, but yes, you are amazing. Do your course. Your course was just mind-blowing. It was really good. You talked about stuff, you did exercise as well. You spoke about so much stuff, and it's just each session was aha, oh, that explains that, that explains that. So without that, you still would be wondering why you felt the way you did. So educate yourself. Go out there, go and find some more information, talk to women, go and join groups.
So talk to your friends, because they are probably going through the same things,
exactly.
Or know somebody who is.
Yeah.